everyone, I am Precious Idahor. I am a mental health coach and therapist, and have been doing a video series on different mental health topics in the past in my channel, and I am back. In this video I'll be talking about how to break free from self-doubt. Now, do you ever feel like no matter what you do that you're not good enough? Like, you've been trying to succeed at something, but it just seems like you are stuck, and every time you go at it, it bounces back to you. I mean, it doesn't yield the kind of result that you want. So it seems like there is nothing going well for you. Or it could be that you have, been succeeding. I mean, you've been passing. It could be that you're a student in school and you've been writing an exam and you pass, and then all of a sudden you just failed, and you just failed the course and you don't really know what's going on, and then you see yourself start being afraid of even sitting for another exam. Or it could be that you're a graduate and you've tried to apply for jobs, and none of these job send you success email for like interview, even to call you for an interview or something. It just keeps giving you rejection mails and all that. So whatever point you are at, you need to realize that we are all at different levels of our lives. I mean, different stages in our life's journey. And while there are some people that they've never really had to doubt themselves because they've been very confident, and all of a sudden it just seemed like because they've tried to do something and they didn't succeed at it, so they start doubting themselves. Or there are people that they've got into that stage of self-doubt, they've passed the stage, and then they're good now. And then there are others that they've got into the stage, they've passed the stage, they came back to the stage again, and then they passed the stage again. So it's like a circle, and that's how life is. So we are all on different levels. So in this video I'll be talking about how you can break free from self-doubt. I remember a time when someone came to me one time, and she said, Precious, I need your help. I have been trying to pass this particular course, and it's just been difficult. And I was like, okay, why? Because in my mind I'm like, if you're reading, you should pass. Right? That's the usual pattern. I mean, if you read a course, you understand it, you write the exam, you should pass. That's the normal way, right? So, and then I asked why, and then she was like, you see, I try to read my books, do night reading, day reading, close to my exams, and I understand what I'm reading, but then when I get into the exam hall, I find myself forgetting everything that I've read. And I was like, okay. So, and she said, I forget, and I just end up writing anything or like guessing, and at the end of the day, when the result comes out, I fail the course. And then I was like, okay. So she said she wanted my help, so I had to have a meeting with her so we could talk about it. So firstly, I asked her, so how do you forget? How do you forget when you get into the hall? And she was like, I don't understand. The question seemed weird to her because she's like, I just forget. I don't know how. And this just, I would come back to the story, but this just takes me to the point I want to talk about now, which is you as a person, you need to realize that there is a pattern. Everything we do in this life, everything we do in our our journey, we have a pattern. My pattern on how I succeed might be different from this other person's pattern. The same way success has a pattern, failure also have a pattern. You need to understand that. So when I asked her, how do you forget? And then she's like, she doesn't know. And I made her to understand that, you know, there is a way that you forget and we need to go through that process. So I was like, okay, I asked her, I said, okay, walk me through, you know, that moment when you dress up from your house to the exam hall. What happens? Just walk me through that process, and then we can see, you know, how we can, you know, get to the root of the problem. So she told me that, you know, she woke up that morning after preparing very hard for the exam. She read and she understood everything. So that morning she woke up, she dressed up, and she, you know, left to the exam venue. So when she got there, she saw a couple of fellow, you know, classmates, students and all, and you know, some of them, they were, you know, still revising their books. And you know, she looked at everybody, even the scholars in class. They were still going through their books, and she, you know, just wanted to talk to someone. So she approached a couple of them and just, you know, talked to them, you know, to see if they have the materials that she does not have, to see if maybe there are some things that they know that she doesn't know. So when they revised together, she found herself, it's more like everything that she knows is just scattering in her head. It's just like all over the place, and she doesn't really know what's wrong. And then she sees herself, you know, she starts being scared of whatever she has read, if maybe they are correct, if it's going to come out, you know, things like that. And then eventually when she gets into the hall and they give her the question paper, she sees some questions that she read, but she's not able to now remember the answers to those questions because she's already like tensed and everything. So after that, I realized that we've already, you know, sorted out what the issue is from what she has explained to me. So I asked her, can you stop? I told her, can you stop trying to know what other people know that you do not know? I would go over that again. So I said, can you stop trying to know what other people know that you do not know? Because you're trying to know what other persons know or what they are doing at that point in time when you are supposed to just be relaxed and face the challenge that is ahead of you. You're trying to know what other people know. That is a distraction. You might not be that kind of person. There are people that, you know, that morning after going around talking with everybody, revising, they will still do well. But if you know your pattern, if you know how you are, how your system takes in things, how your memory takes in things, if you're able to process that, you might not be that kind of person that you know, would want to get to know what other people know or trying to get distractions in that very morning. So when after talking to her, she was able to, you know, get to the root of the problem and eventually the solution. So it could be that you are that person that, you know, you are after you when you are faced with a new challenge. It could be that you're faced with a new challenge and you might have been succeeding before, and because this is a new terrain that you just, you know, got into, you are afraid. You don't know if you can succeed, because self-doubt starts with fear. It could be fear of the known or fear of the unknown. So fear of the known could be that, could come from you know, maybe over time you've not really been succeeding at things. You just it's more like when you do something, it just doesn't come out well, and because you've not taken time to be conscious of the patterns or the things that you do that makes it to end that way, you just keep repeating the pattern and then keep getting the same results. Fear of the unknown could be that, okay, you are just scared because this is a new challenge. You've not gone through this route before, you've not done this before, and so you're just scared that, oh, I may not get this. It could be that you've applied for a grant or a job, and you are scared that you may not be able to pass the interview or be able to get the grant. So that could be the fear. So whatever stage you are in life, whatever stage you are at this point, this video is for you. So come here. All right, so what I'll be talking about, I would be asking you some questions. So at this point, I would expect that you take a paper and a pen so you can, write out the questions, and in your quiet time, because the questions would take you into a moment of reflection. So you're going to reflect on the questions and be truthful to yourself, answer them to yourself, not to me or anyone. So you could replay this video so you can get the questions and be able to answer them. So wherever point you are in your life, at any stage, and you feel like you have some self-doubt, you doubt yourself sometimes, now these are the questions. Firstly, how do you know you are not good enough? I mean, how do you know? Is it that someone at some point told you that you're not good enough, that you're incapable of succeeding, you are incapable of being good at this thing that you're doing? How do you know? I would like you to answer that at a time when you're by yourself, and just think about the question before answering. Secondly, how will you know that you are good enough? So what will happen for you to know? What is that thing that will happen? What is that thing that you would see? What is that thing that you would experience? What is that thing that you would have? What is that thing that would come to you for you to know that you are good enough? The third question is, what is it that you don't totally understand in yourself that causes you to think that you are not good enough? I'm going to go over it again. What is that thing that you don't totally understand in yourself that causes you to think that you are not good enough? The fourth question is, when did you decide that you're not good enough? When did you decide that you're not good enough? Everything in this life is a decision. Even in this indecision is a decision. So you decided to believe that you're not good enough, and that's why you feel you're not good enough. So when did you decide that? So if you can take a moment and just go over these questions again and ask yourself, so you can get the answers, then we can say that we are on the journey to finding a solution to that doubt that is in yourself. So I'm going to be talking about some ways, some things you can do, some things you can put in place to overcome self-doubt. And number one, first of all, is you have to acknowledge the problem. You have to acknowledge that self-doubt. So you have to first come to that point of acceptance that okay, I think I am doubting myself at this point. Because if you do not accept it, if you do not even realize that you are doubting yourself, or what your belief system is not aligning with your actions, if you've not come to that point, it would even be difficult for you to, get a solution, because you would just be beating around the bush looking for a problem where there is none, and then you're not focusing on where the problem really is. So the first thing is to acknowledge the issue. You have to acknowledge, you have to come to that point of acceptance that there is a problem, and that the problem is that you are doubting yourself. Secondly, the second way you can overcome self-doubt is to identify the source. Like I the example I gave, the lady I talked to, I told you we had to go through the process to be able to find out how she forgets, and how she, what happens, why does she forget? Because sometimes when we hear of things like this, we think it's a spiritual problem. I've heard a lot of things like that where people will say, you don't know, it happens, you get into the Holland, everything, to don't just be as if there is a blank space in your head, you can't remember anything. It happens, and then people just link it up with spiritual problem and all that. While there is that, I'm just going to tell you, there is another side to it, and that is the fact that it may not even be that. It may be that there are other things, undertone. Like this particular lady, she forgets because she goes about on that very morning of the exam, or on the day of the exam, she goes about trying to get materials, or trying to get what other people know that she doesn't know, and then that just destabilizes her. It makes her everything that she's learned to be all over the place, and then she's not composed. So because of that, she already starts letting fear to get into her, because when she starts seeing other people that it seemed like the materials they have, it's so bulky, they have a lot of things that they've used to prepare for the exam, and she does not even have anything like that. So that already would make the person to start feeling, oh, are you sure I'm really prepared for this exam? And then you see fear, and then you see self-doubt, and then when she got into the hall, she's not able to remember anything. So you have to identify the source. Where is that coming from? That's why I asked you those questions. So if you can go over those questions again, trust me, you're going to be able to identify the source where that self-doubt is coming from. Is it that someone told you? Because a lot of us will come to believe what other people tell us about ourselves than what we tell ourselves. In fact, we do not even have time to tell ourselves things, because people have talked over our heads, and so we believe what other people have said, and we do not even have time to say things to ourselves, or what God says about us. So you have to identify your source. What is the source of this self-doubt? Where is it coming from? The third way to overcome self-doubt is to focus on your strengths. You have the things that you are good at. Everyone has what they're good at. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. Now, while there are weaknesses that you should take note of, it's very important that you focus more on your strengths, because what you focus on, you become. So the more you focus on the things that you're good at, the more you focus on those areas where you are very capable, you have more capabilities, you can do it, and it comes naturally. So there are things that sometimes it's not even by training, you don't get them by training, and it just comes naturally to you. Focus on those areas, focus on those strengths, focus on those things that makes you really happy. Focus on those things that comes natural to you. So when you keep on focusing on that, you see yourself, you become a master of that particular skill that you have. The fourth one is challenge negative self-talk. A lot of us, we talk down on ourselves. In fact, when I said something, I said we've believed what other people say over our heads than what we say. Many times what I've come to know is that we say things to ourselves, but most of the things we say to ourselves, they are negative. We focus more on saying negative things to ourselves than positive things. In fact, a lot of us do not even know what is positive. We don't even say positive things to ourselves. We focus more on that. See, I'm not good enough. I don't even know. I never succeed at anything. I just did this. Now you see, I've done this. You see, it's going to come like this. You already predict failure even before it happens. You already predict that this thing will not go well even before it happens. And you know what? It's actually not going to go well. It's actually going to fail, because why? You've predicted. So you need to understand that your belief is your reality. Your belief is your reality. So that thing that you believe, come to believe about yourself, trust me, is going to become a reality in no time. So the more you challenge those self, and before the self-talk even comes, there are thoughts that comes into your head, that and most times it just comes. It might not be that you're thinking about it, but because, oh, maybe it's a pattern or something that's happened to you before, the thought just comes. Are you sure I'm going to, that thought that comes and says, are you sure I'm going to succeed at this? Are you sure this is not going to be the way it has always been happening? Are you sure it's not going to end like this? When that thought comes, it's very important you challenge it with words. You challenge those negative talks with words and say, no, I will do this and it would come out this way, the way that you want it to come out. I will succeed in this. I am capable of doing this. I am skillful. I have this skill. I have this knowledge. I have prepared myself. I would write this exam. I would go for that interview and get this job. Now, those are some of the ways you can challenge self-talk. Some negative self-talk. The next one would be seek support. You have to seek support. It could be support from friends, your regular friends. It could be from family members, colleagues. There are people around you. You can ask, just like that lady came to meet me and asked me to help, and I was able to help her. So you could have a friend that is just able to tell you one or two things, and you when you apply it, it would work. So talk to your friends, seek support from your family members, tell them what you're going through, and you would be able to overcome that self-doubt. Also, you have to practice self-care. So this one cannot be overemphasized. Live your values. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take out time to care for yourself. So these are some of the ways that you can overcome self-doubt. In our next video, we'll be talking about something else that is going to be very exciting, trust me. So if you want to go over to the video again, don't forget to go over the questions, answer them, and drop your comments. Tell me in what ways this video has helped you. When after going over the questions you've gotten answers or clarity, don't forget to come back and comment and tell me how this video has helped you. And please do not forget to like, share our video, share our video, and drop those comments. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love you, and I would be